Hello everyone, welcome to Movie Recap channel. Today we're going to see an animation movie recap from 2012 titled Brave. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Brave tells the story of Merida, princess of Clan Dunbrock, in medieval Scotland. The film begins with a young Merida playing hide-and-seek with her mother, Queen Eleanor. Her father, King Fergus, joins them and puts his big bow on the table. Eleanor frowns at Fergus for putting a weapon on the table, and Merida takes the chance to grab the big bow and cutely asks to play with it. While laughing, the king comments how his bow is too big for her, and instead reveals a smaller one he had made especially for her. The young girl is overjoyed, but her mother just sighs. Merida begins to practice shooting, but she's no good. She is sent off to the woods to pick up the missed arrow, and in her search meets a will-o-wisp that she gladly follows. When called back, she tells them of how will-o-wisps are real, as she's just seen one in the forest. As they head back home, they are suddenly attacked by a huge black bear, Mordu. King Fergus and his men stay back to hold it off, while Merida and her mother run for safety. 10 years later, Fergus is training his men, having lost one leg from his encounter with Mordu. Merida is now an elder sister to 3 mischievous twin brothers who are very prone to pranks. More importantly, she is of marriageable age. Queen Eleanor struggles to teach her manners and etiquette suitable for a lady in court, but Merida is a hard nut and a tomboy, just like her father. Merida, however, gets one day free from all parental and societal responsibilities. On this day, she gallops with her horse into the woods, doing whatever she likes. She practices archery, plays with her horse, climbs up the tallest hills to drink from the fjords like the kingdom's legendary kings, and then returns home in the evening. She returns one evening from her escapades and finds the family at dinner. King Fergus is regaling the twins with tales of his fight with Mordu a long time ago. Merida joins them by interrupting and continuing her father's story. Merida tries to grab her mother's attention by telling her exploits in the fjords. Her father praises her for being like the legendary kings of the past, who did the same. Mother is not even listening. Soon enough, Morty, their maid, bounces into the room with a tray of letters for Queen Eleanor. After opening them and reading the contents, she quickly excuses the 3 twins and calls upon Fergus to explain and break the news to his daughter. When he is unable to do so, she sighs and does it instead. Eleanor then informs her daughter that the kingdom clans are presenting their sons for Merida's hand in marriage. Merida is shocked and refuses to go through with it. They get into an argument and she storms out of the dining room. Eleanor follows her daughter to her room and tries to convince her by telling her the legend of a past kingdom with a prince who did not follow his father's will and instead led the kingdom to destruction. Eleanor leaves by saying the ceremony will go on with or without her approval. Eleanor, while grumbling to her horse, vows not to go along with it. The day comes and the major clan heads arrive before the king to present their sons. Merida is forced to endure a grooming makeup session by her mother. Merida is uncomfortable, but the twins are in their element playing pranks on the castle guards. All the clan lords present their sons, but none are to Merida's liking. The hall descends into chaos when the clans start throwing fists at one another, while King Fergus jumps in to join the fun. Everyone seems to have forgotten the reason they are here until Eleanor steps in and restores order by dragging her husband and the 3 clan lords out by their ears. Eleanor takes over the ceremony of presentation, and when Merida is prompted to choose a game that the suitors would compete for her hand, she promptly chooses her favorite, archery. The games start, and McGovern shoots way off the mark. Lord Mackintosh, though on the mark, is not on target. However, Lord Dingwall is very clumsy but coincidentally shoots on target. But Merida interrupts the merriment by declaring that, as the firstborn of her clan, she would shoot for her hand. She shoots all shots on target, shocking the clans and drawing her mother's ire. After a heated argument with her mother, Merida ends up running off into the woods with her favorite horse to vent her anger. She meets some will-o-wisps that guide her to a witch's cottage, where she ends up asking the witch to cast a spell that would change her mother. The witch conjures a magical cake and hands it to Merida, to give to her mother with the promise that it will change her. When she returns and finds that her mother still has yet to change her mind about the marriage, she puts on a fake smile and hands her the cake. Eleanor takes a bite, but the cake is not to her taste. She suddenly feels unwell and has to skip pacifying the lords to go to rest. Once in her room, she transforms into a bear to the shock of her daughter. Now she has to hide from her father, the king, who has already sensed the presence of a bear in his house. Morty, however, sees Eleanor in her bear form, screaming at the top of her voice and alerting everyone. The whole castle is now in arms, looking for the bear, and Merida enlists the help of her 3 twin brothers, who divert the king and the clan leaders, and they manage to sneak their bear mother out of the castle and into the forest. In the forest, Merida tries to go to the witch's hut, but is unable to find it since the wisps that led her there refuse to show themselves. Her mother, however, uses her bear's nose to find the way to the cottage, but the witch is not around, having gone to the festival. She has left some reminders for Merida, however, telling her if the spell is not broken by the 2nd day, her mother will remain a bear permanently. Merida and her bear mom stay in the forest, and though Eleanor is now a bear, mother and daughter start to bond. However, Eleanor is starting to lose her mind and become a full-fledged bear. Wisps appear and lead them to the ruins of a past empire, where a prince has turned himself into a bear to get more strength. Merida accidentally falls into the ruins, and as she checks it out, she gets visions of how the spell had once happened before to a prince of a past kingdom, who had turned into a huge bear and destroyed the entire kingdom after he lost his sanity. The huge black bear shows itself and begins to chase after them. Mother Bear and Merida on her back run for their lives. With the idea of mending the tapestry she had cut to break the curse on her mom, they return to the castle. The clans are almost descending into war, but Merida's appearance stalls them. As she distracts them while her mother sneaks into her room, she unwittingly uses her mother's lessons to quell their anger. Eleanor looks on proud of her grown daughter. But Eleanor is losing her mind to the bear, and when the king runs to their room and finds a whole mess, he runs to Merida's, and when he finds her with a bear, he loses it. He begins to attack the bear, and Eleanor, on the verge of her sanity, fights back. Seeing she is now a danger to her family, she escapes back to the woods. Fergus goes on the chase, but not after locking his daughter in her room. However, the twins now turn into little bears, scare Morty to give them the key, and they get on horse and ride out to save their mom. Eleanor is cornered at the sacred grounds and is almost killed by Fergus, but is saved in the nick of time by Merida and the 3 twins. As the clans wonder at the sight, Mordu appears and begins killing everyone. Eleanor fights with Mordu to save her daughter and manages to get a huge rock to fall on the huge bear, killing it. The prince's soul is released, and he thanks them silently before turning into a wisp. But it is dawn and the curse will almost become permanent. Merida cries and begs for her mom's return, unknowingly fulfilling the requirements for breaking the curse. The sun rises and the curse is broken. Her mother and little brothers return from their bear forms. The clans are united again, and clans head back with a pledge that future heirs will choose their suitors and win their hands in marriage. The film ends with both mother and daughter riding their horses into the forest to adventure. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.